Hi everyone, today we're getting a colony ready for its new home. A fellow beekeeper has already dropped off his hive box, and I'm going to transfer the bees into it today. This way, everything is prepared and ready for him to pick up whenever he's free. But a little more about me. I'm a hobbyist beekeeper managing about 20 colonies right in the heart of Europe, here in Austria, and we are currently at one of my apiaries, which I call der Bienenweg, or the bee path. At this specific apiary, I'm currently managing 8 colonies. As for the equipment, I'm working with the standard size frame format. It's the standard size here in Austria and very widely used among local beekeepers, which makes exchanging frames and equipment much easier. The temperature today is around 13 degrees Celsius, so there's some light flight activity at the entrance. It's just warm enough to open the hive briefly without chilling the brood, which is perfect for transferring this colony to its new box. Alright, let's get the smoker going. Even though the bees are quite calm today, a little smoke helps to keep them relaxed while we move the frames into the new hive. It's always better to be prepared, especially when handling a full colony. For the smoker, I'm using a mix of egg cartons and straw pellets. It's a great combination because the cardboard starts up quickly and the pellets provide a long-lasting, cool smoke. Sometimes, my lighter just doesn't want to cooperate as it should. I think it's definitely time to buy a new one. But once we get a spark, the egg cartons and pellets will do the rest. Finally, it works. This hive box here on the left belongs to my colleague. This is where we'll be transferring the colony today. By moving the bees directly into his equipment, everything is set up perfectly for him, and all he has to do is pick it up and take it to his own apiary. Now I'm gonna slide my own hive a bit to the right, and we're placing his hive exactly where my old one used to sit. This way, the foragers can immediately start their orientation flights at the new entrance. Since the bees are in a great mood today, I probably wouldn't have needed the smoker at all. But, as we say, better safe than sorry. It's always good to have it ready just in case, especially when you're moving frames between 2 different hives. Let's take a look at the first frame. As expected for an outside position, there isn't much brood here. It's mostly just some pollen and honey stores. It's a good sign though. It shows the colony has enough resources nearby to start the season. Moving on to the second frame, and as you can see there's still no brood here. It's another resource frame filled with stores. I'm gonna skip a few frames here because my colleague's hive is actually a bit smaller than mine. Not all of the frames will fit, so I have to be selective. My priority is to move the core of the colony, the queen and the brood, and leave some of the outer resource frames behind if necessary. And here we go, the first frame with some brood. It's great to see the queen has started laying. And here's another one. Look at that beautiful brood nest. Another beautiful solid brood nest. Even though we haven't spotted the queen herself yet, a pattern like this tells me everything I need to know. And there she is. We've finally spotted her. You can clearly see the blue marking on her thorax. Since she was marked last year, she's in her prime and doing a fantastic job, as we saw from that beautiful brood pattern earlier. Whenever I sell a colony, it's incredibly important to me to actually find the queen. I want to see her with my own eyes to make sure she's healthy and active. It gives me peace of mind knowing that everything is 100% okay before the bees leave my apiary and head to their new home. The last frame here is almost entirely pollen, and here's still room for one more frame in the hive. So I'm adding a frame of honey stores as a reserve. Now I'm going to push the frames together to make enough space for that last one. This is exactly why I'm not a big fan of Hoffman sidebars. That last frame is always such a tight squeeze. Over time, the bees build up so much propolis on those spacers that it gets harder and harder to fit everything back in smoothly. It takes a bit of patience, but we'll get it seated correctly. I'm just gonna shake these last few bees from the remaining frames directly into the hive. We want to make sure as many of them as possible stay with the colony and the queen. I'm also going to brush the remaining bees out of my old hive. Now that everyone is inside, I can finally close the lid. Just a few more stragglers left. I'm going to brush them in very gently. Now for the final touch, the lid. Since this isn't my own hive, I actually have to figure out how it's supposed to sit. When you're working with thousands of bees, it's not always easy to avoid a few bumps, but I always try my best to be as gentle as possible. Whenever I can, I make sure not to crush any of them. And that's a wrap. Everything is safely in place and the bees are ready for their new adventure. Now all that's left for me to do is clear everything away and tidy up the apiary. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Until next time.